Smokey Robinson, R&B legend, soul music icon, and the voice behind some of Motown's most beloved ballads, is now facing a legal battle that could redefine his legacy. 4 women have come forward with deeply disturbing allegations against Robinson and his wife, Frances. The accusations range from sexual assault and rape to emotional abuse, wage theft, and racial discrimination. In this video, we'll walk through the lawsuit in detail. We'll explore the shocking claims made by the 4 Jane Does, examine the legal implications, and hear analysis from top legal experts. We'll also discuss why these women say they waited so long to speak out, and what this case means for celebrity accountability in the post-MeToo era. This is the story behind the headlines. This is the Smokey Robinson lawsuit, full breakdown. On a quiet day in Los Angeles, a 30-page complaint was filed in Superior Court that would send shockwaves through the entertainment world. The plaintiffs, listed anonymously as Jane Doe 1 through 4, were all Hispanic women who had worked for Smokey Robinson and his wife as housekeepers, personal assistants, and domestic staff. Their accusations, nothing short of chilling. According to the complaint, Smokey Robinson used his power, fame, and isolation within the private home setting to sexually assault each of these women over the span of nearly 2 decades. His wife, Frances Robinson, is also named as a defendant, accused not only of turning a blind eye to her husband's alleged behavior, but of creating a hostile and abusive work environment herself, laced with racial slurs and verbal attacks. The plaintiffs are seeking damages of no less than $50 million, but more than money, they say they want the truth to come out. Jane Doe 1 was hired as a housekeeper in January 20. According to the lawsuit, it didn't take long for the abuse to begin. She claims that Smokey Robinson had a routine. On Saturdays, he would drive his wife to the nail salon. Then he'd rush home alone. That's when the alleged assaults occurred. The complaint states that Robinson would invite Jane Doe into his bedroom. He'd shut the door, escort the couple's dog, Shiloh, out of the room. Then after showering, he would reappear in only his underwear. On the bed, a neatly folded white towel. According to Jane Doe, this ritual happened again and again and again. She says she resisted. She said, "You're married." She says he didn't care. The lawsuit describes at least 7 separate assaults by Robinson, with the final incident taking place on February 17, 2024. She quit her job the following week, but her story doesn't end there. Jane Doe 1 also accuses Frances Robinson of knowing about her husband's behavior and doing nothing. In fact, she says Frances added to the trauma, regularly screaming at her and creating a hostile, racially charged work environment. Jane Doe 2's story begins in She worked for the Robinsons for 6 years. In that time, she alleges that Smokey Robinson sexually assaulted her twice, once in the laundry room and once in the garage of a home with no security cameras. She claims that Smokey texted her directly, inviting her to the house while Frances was away. Once inside, he allegedly cornered her in the laundry area and began groping her, eventually raping her without consent and without a condom. She says she refused future advances, and that's when, according to her, Frances became hostile. Allegedly, Frances would insult her, ignore her, and even force her to do demeaning tasks as punishment for not playing along. Jane Doe 2 says she feared speaking out, not just because of Smokey's fame, but because of her immigration status. Losing her job could mean losing her ability to live, work, and stay safe in the United States. Jane Doe 3 worked for Smokey Robinson from 20. Her claims mirror those of the other plaintiffs, and according to legal analysts, that's exactly what makes the case so compelling. She alleges over 20 incidents of rape, always the same setup: a shower, a towel, a locked bedroom door, painful, unwanted sex. One time, she says he offered her $500 if she allowed him to perform oral sex. She refused, and like the others, she says Frances Robinson helped perpetuate a toxic work environment, screaming at her and allegedly using racial slurs. Jane Doe 3 says she endured this for years before finally resigning in 2024. Jane Doe 4's story reaches the furthest back, starting in 2006. She didn't just clean the Robinsons' homes, she cooked. She did Frances's hair. She helped coordinate travel, and she says from almost the beginning, she was also a victim. Her first alleged rape took place in 2007 while accompanying Smokey to a Las Vegas property. He reportedly forced her into a bedroom and assaulted her. The pattern continued for years. In 2019, while cleaning a bedroom, she says Smokey appeared naked and erect. The same routine, the same violence. She resigned in April 2024 after nearly 2 decades of work and alleged abuse. You might be asking, why didn't they report him sooner? The lawsuit answers that these women were low-wage workers. They lived paycheck to paycheck. Speaking out meant risking everything, not just their jobs, but their homes, their families, their dignity. Smokey Robinson's celebrity status, wealth, and legal power made him, in their eyes, untouchable. They were afraid of shame, of being blamed, of being ignored, and they didn't even know about each other until they finally broke the silence. That, their attorney says, is what gave them the courage to speak out together. Nama Romani, a former federal prosecutor, described the allegations as graphic, disturbing, and pattern-based. He explained that when multiple accusers tell similar stories with similar details, it often indicates credibility. He also noted that Smokey Robinson has reportedly settled previous misconduct claims in the past, though those details are currently confidential. Romani says California law allows for past victims to testify in civil court, even if they signed NDAs. That means this case could get even bigger. And then there's Frances Robinson. While her alleged behavior may not be criminal in the same way, Romani says her role as employer and enabler could expose her to serious civil liability, hostile work environments, racial discrimination, failure to protect employees. These are real legal claims, and they carry weight. Why a civil lawsuit and not a criminal case? That's a question many are asking. In short, the burden of proof in criminal court is much higher. Prosecutors need to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. That's not easy, especially when there's no video evidence, no physical proof, and the incidents occurred in private. But civil court is different. Victims can control the pace, they can sue for emotional damages, and most importantly, they can be heard. Romani says less than 10% of rape victims see justice in the criminal system, but in civil court, they at least have a chance to tell their story on their terms. Smokey Robinson is a beloved icon, a musical giant, a man whose love songs have touched generations, and that experts say is part of the problem. Celebrity defendants often get the benefit of the doubt. Jurors hesitate to believe their idols could be monsters behind closed doors. But this lawsuit isn't about music, it's about abuse. It's about 4 women who say they were used, silenced, and discarded for over 18 years. Romani puts it bluntly, in every music industry case I've worked, Diddy, R. Kelly, Lizzo, Derulo, the pattern is the same, power used to exploit, victims too scared to speak, until they do. So what happens next? At the time of this recording, Smokey Robinson has not responded to the allegations. His legal team has yet to comment. Legal experts believe the case will likely settle out of court, as the vast majority of civil lawsuits do. But even if no trial occurs, the damage is already done. The complaint is public, the accusations are out, and the conversation around abuse in the music industry continues to grow louder. This isn't just about Smokey Robinson, it's about systems of silence, about celebrity power, about domestic workers who have long been overlooked and unheard. Whether justice will be served is for the courts to decide, but these 4 women are now telling the world their truth. Thank you for watching this full breakdown of the Smokey Robinson lawsuit. If you found this video informative, please subscribe to Dreamz Entertainment. We cover the stories that others are too afraid to touch, with the depth and respect they deserve. Drop a comment below. What do you think about these allegations? Should celebrity status protect anyone from accountability? Until next time, stay informed, stay aware, and stay strong.